So in 2016, we updated the land use plan for Highland Valley Copper. And it went through this evolution of focusing on, agronomic grass species to focusing on reestablishing pre-mine ecosystems or returning the land to what it was. And a huge driver of this was, through the relationship we've built with Highland Valley Copper, looking at land use planning through the lens that Nlaka'pamux land users were going to be the people to use the land at mine closure. So it's really important that we approach land use planning this way, recognition of Indigenous lands, because our identity is, tied to our specific territories, our language, our culture, our identity. Who we are is rooted on the land. So when you have these projects that come in, and especially with mining, just due to the nature of the activities associated with it, there becomes a barrier of access, and it's a piece of our territory that we can't use and we're not engaging in. So when we plan for these projects, we need to look to the future and how we're going to reconnect to the land and how we're going to respect, Indigenous land use at end of mine life. And I think that's something we really achieved, with the Highland Valley Copper and land use plan. That recognition, it's so key. And for us, reclamation is so much more than reestablishing plants that are going to be successful there. But it's also approaching it, in a way that honors that Nlaka'pamux people were there before the mine and will be there after the mine. And so how can we go about this in a way that promotes reconnection to the land and ensures future generations can use it? And Highland Valley Copper, the area where the mine is a significant space. There was lots of Nlaka'pamux, occupation and use pre-mine, and we still use the surrounding area today. So I was really happy that we were able to bring community members in to, share a bit of that perspective as well.
So before the mine was there, I know that there used to be lakes up there. People fished up there quite a bit for trout. I think the Anderson family and the Wilson family, and from Cook's Ferry area, and then people from Coldwater even went out there on wagons and horseback before there were roads. And so it was a big fishing area. There was Quiltanton Lake and a couple other lakes that are no longer there.
Tonquay Lake, before I know there's a summer range, we used to use a dip net. And one would be on the other side of the ditch, and one on this side, and one up quite a ways up ahead. And we'd slap the water with a stick and keep moving. And the guy with the dip net would dip out the fish about that size. Yeah, we can't do that now.
That project is a huge project, and it's done a lot to the land, and it has to be put back to the way it was, reclamation sort of thing, and rehabilitation for that area. And it's imperative that it has to not, I understand it won't go back to what it was, but at least to what can be usable for us and future generations. I do think it's very doable, as long as the people at Highland Valley Tech are willing to work with us.
I heard lots of stories, and I was around to hear the stories, and basically grew up with the mine being in our backyard of Shackan. One of the things that I heard was, before the mine came, it was it was a plateau, and there was a travel corridor right through between Ashcroft and Logan Lake that you can see. So before the mine came, it was a great place to hunt. There's lots of lakes around there. It fit that high plateau sort of environment that had a lot of game and everything.
There should be some sort of a transition period, I guess, because currently you can't go hunting on the mine site, so there's lots of deer there. And if people were just to start hunting all of a sudden, I don't know, that would be kind of different for all those deer, because I think they know it's like a safe place, so they have lots of babies up there and they're roaming around very not afraid of people at all.
Even affected my area where I live. there. We don't have no more pheasants, we don't have no more rabbits, we don't have no more rattlesnakes, which I'm okay with that. Yeah, but you know, we don't have no more squirrels, and you know, a long time ago I used to wake up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and I could hear squirrels already chirping outside. You know, I don't hear that no more. You hear willow grouse, you know, and you hear blue grouse. You don't even hear that no more. You know, so you know, this hasn't affected just the Highland Valley Mine. It affected, you know, just like throw a pebble in a pond and it ripples off, eh? So that's what happened, eh?
Traditionally, there was people up there. It was hunting grounds, it was gathering, it was fishing, and everything. Start using it for ceremonies. Start using it for whatever we can use it for, and that is one way that we can reconnect. It's like our language. A lot of people lost the language because they didn't use it, and if you don't use it, you lose it, sort of thing. And hopefully with the land, if just us getting back up there, we can start reconnecting with it. And it's a massive amount of space that we weren't allowed to use for the past, how long, 40, 50, 60 years. And getting back to that, I think, would be great for everybody.
There was actually a few areas at that elevation where there was a couple of areas for huckleberries, actually, because you're in the montane spruce area, and so there was a few areas that we actually get some huckleberries. It was rare, but strawberries, raspberries, a lot of picking of that in there. We actually used that plateau area to get our Indian tea. We'd gather our Indian tea in that area.
I mean, the land is very important itself, but I think the water is really the most important thing. So we should all be stewards of that and be as conscious as we can about not wasting it and not contaminating it, being respectful of the water. So there's a lot of work I know that needs to be done. They are already doing, like the mine is trying to improve water quality.
You know, the medicine, you know, the medicine that we use out we gather out in the high country. You know, the people want me to do medicine, but they just wanted to do it around a mile away from my home. It's not like that. You know, you get certain medicine, you have to go up to the high country, you know. The Highland Valley is up in the high country.
We don't own the land, we're stewards of it. We're here to take care of it any way that we can, and having the reclamation after the mine is finished, I think, will help put it to the way it was. And a lot of people like it, some don't. It is a scar, sometimes it isn't. It's all what we do and how we do it and how we teach our future generations how to take care of that land after we're gone and how it's going to be used for future generations as well.
So when I look at the future and they say, well, what do I think about the future of this mine or the future of this area where the mine sits? I look at the reclamation of who we are. So that includes the ground that we walk on there, the water that we drink out of there, all the plants and all the animals that are there, but also then who we are. So our practices, our customs, our language, all these, we bring all that back.